Pizza is an Italian dish. It's probably the most famous global food and it's a symbol of a country that has spread all over the world. Pizza has a long and complex history, and ever since it was born, many variations have been created throughout the years, depending on the dough, ingredients and toppings. The most famous example among these is without a doubt Pizza Margherita. Story goes that it was originally cooked for Queen Margherita, who reportedly liked it so much that she abandoned any kind of gallantry in order to stuff herself with it, using her bare hands. This is the origin of the tradition of eating it with hands and not with cutlery. But as the years went by and more variants of pizza were born, some have been told to have been created by groups of devil's worshippers, such as the disgusting Hawaiian pizza, which has a normal dough, but with a condiment of ham and pineapple. Truly a dish to be exorcised. The ingredients for a traditional pizza are Manitoba flour, flour double O, salt, water, oil, and fresh brewers yeast. Thanks to these ingredients, you create a dough that after rising a bit will prepare in the famous round shape to be seasoned with what you want. Prati are a type of pasta made of only water and flour. The story is clear from the name, which means priest chokers in Italian. They were invented by cooks as a way of protest against the priests who stole eggs and therefore prevented them from having the materials for the recipes. This is a variant of the history of the dish, but in each variant it never ends well for the priest. Cappelletti are a format, with an ancient history, of traditional stuffed egg pasta, so called because of their characteristic shape which resembles a hat, cappello in Italian. They are spread in the form of minestra, a term used in Italy to identify a huge quantity of recipes based on broth. Cappelletti are the dish of choice for big parties in Romagna and follow slightly different recipes based on the stuffing, which is generally made of cheese and ricotta, spiced with nutmeg and grated lemon peel, in some cases with the addition of capon breast or other meat. Here are the ingredients. For the dough, you only need eggs and flour. For the stuffing, there are instead numerous choices, some of which are eggs, meat, which is either pork, beef or chicken, beef, oil, celery, black pepper, nutmeg, salt, carrots, onion, parmesan cheese and even red wine. Tiramisu is an extremely famous Italian dessert that was born in 1970 after modification to another simple recipe for the dessert, made for children and the elderly. It is very nutritious and tasty, and it's perfect, both as a traditional dessert and as a birthday cake. Tiramisu means cheer me up in Italian, and the name probably originates from the fact that this dessert is so good, it can make your day brighter. The ingredients of the original recipe are mascarpone cheese, eggs, sugar, ladyfingers, coffee and cocoa powder, but there are many alternative versions. In addition to liqueur and chocolate, there are those with sponge cake, with pavesini biscuits, with strawberries, ice cream, limoncello and yogurt. Revisited versions of an inimitable dessert. The piadina is a thin flatbread made with a few simple ingredients: wheat flour, lard or olive oil, baking soda or yeast, salt and water. It was traditionally cooked on an earthenware pan, although today this method has been obviously replaced by more modern metal plates. Traces of this dish were already reported in Roman times and in the Middle Ages, even if it was not as widespread as it is today. This spread allows for an infinite variety of recipes, since it can be filled in many ways, to the point where you are sure to find one to fit your tastes. They range from cold cuts to having mozzarella on top, from kebabs to being filled with various types of cheeses. Our advice is to try raw ham, mozzarella and a few leaves of salad, but if you're looking for a refined taste, you can use salmon, spread double cheese and salad. It was in 1819 that the word spaghetti first appeared in the dictionary of the Italian language, a period in which this dish became a staple of popular and traditional cuisine in Naples. It was the spread of tomatoes as a condiment for pasta that gave prestige to this dish. Indeed, in the early 19th century, the iconic dish of spaghetti with San Marzano tomato sauce finally saw the light of day, a recipe first published in 1844. Shortly afterwards, thanks to the migratory flows to the United States of America, spaghetti sailed across the ocean before making its glorious appearance in 19th and early 20th century cinema and becoming an internationally renowned dish. While it is true that there is no trace of carbonara being prepared in Rome until the 1930s, this recipe began to appear in 1944. Such a coincidence of dates provides a valuable clue to the invention of this tasty dish. It is said, in fact, that Allied soldiers engaged during the Second World War on the Rhine-Had line between Lazio, Molise and Campania had the opportunity to taste and become fond of the typical pasta cacio e ova from Abruzzo. It was natural, at least according to what is said between historical reality and legend, to add guanciale, typical of the area, and possibly smoked bacon, imported from the United States. These flavors reminded the soldiers of home, but this did not prevent the Romans, once they had discovered the recipe, from making carbonara of their own, which was literally adopted to the point that, today, no one would dare question its geographical paternity. And that wraps it up for all the major Italian dishes we had the time to show you. Of course, there are still many more, but if we try to talk about even a small percent of them, we'd be here all day. And by the time will be over, you would already have to return to your country. We hope this video was useful and that maybe you'd try some of the dishes presented today. There's a reason you wanted to come to Italy after all, isn't there?